Hello guys and welcome back. So I wanted to discuss the masking, creating better masks, whether to use the depth or to only isolate the displacement, edge displacement, so it happens in the borders. And what we can do is we can displace what's inside using one mask and then everything else using a different mask. So on the interior faces, we don't care too much where the points are moving along and if they're being affected or not. As long as we are getting some noise inside, it should work fine. But what we can do is we can use some features from that comes with Houdini by default and provide better masking. So I'm gonna turn on this divide node, which simply subdivides the geometry and adds a couple of faces inside each block. So this is not the final resolution, we definitely need a lot more, but it's enough to get some points with different colors. So here, for example, I can say, okay, these points are going to be affected, everything else is not, something like that. And while doing this, I'm going to show a feature in Houdini, a node in Houdini that we can use to create depth masks. I'm going to create an RBD interior detail node and plug it in. And I don't need the detail size. I'm going to turn this off. I don't want to change the mesh, and I don't need any amplitude. I don't want this to affect the mesh. I only want to use this feature. Sorry, visualize noise scale, and I wanted to use this feature. So here you can see we have a depth information. So it's generating a volume and then doing a volume sample. The deeper we get inside the volume, the higher the value. And if I middle click, we should see, why is it not providing us? Yeah, it should provide this information for us. So okay, let's take a look. I'm gonna do allow editing of the node, and I'm gonna dive inside. And let's see. Let's find this mask information. Scale amplitude, normalize depth. So this is where it's coming from, and then this is the map. Okay, so let's bind export this. And call it depth mask, and let's go up and middle click here, make sure it's not deleting that node. So right now it is deleting, or actually it's here. I'm gonna disable this. So now we should get depth __ depth, and let's go outside and use a color node. And I'm gonna connect this and ramp from attribute __ depth. Let's see. So it goes between, yeah, we have to make sure it goes between -0.5 and 0. Okay, so you see it's working. You see inside is black and outside is white. I'm gonna invert the ramp, and that's our mask. And this is something we can provide in our shader and say, okay, I want this displacement only to happen outside, and then everything else inside is going to have a different noise, for example, if you want to go a bit more extreme, because it doesn't matter too much what's happening inside, as long as we don't mess up the outside faces. Cool. So this is one mask that we could use, and then the other mask that we need is to find the edges of each geometry. So if we go back here to this area, and we're isolating the outside and inside, what we can do is we can use a carve node, or let's do here. We can use this and do a for each connected primitive, sorry, for each named primitive. And now we're getting this. We can use a divide node and remove shared edges, and then use a carve node, and that's going to give us a silhouette, and then we use a resample node to get more details, and I'm going to lower this to 0.01. And if we look now, we have the boundaries of all geometry. I'm going to color this with red like we did before. Okay, and I'm going to use an attribute transfer. So the first one is for the outside, and let's lower this maybe to 0.01, something like this. Yeah, we'll have to fix this as well. Okay, so I'm going to use an attribute transfer between this and this. Cool, so we have a nice mask, and I'm going to increase it to 5 maybe. Yeah, I think this is fine. Something like that. I'm going to create a wrangle node and call this f at mask2 or edges, and it's v at cd.x, and I'm going to set cd equal 0 because I wanted it black. So we have that information, and then because we subdivided the geometry, this carve is no longer working, and what we need to do is we need to figure out a way how to get this to work. And the easiest for now is to use the original one, which is this, before we do the subdivision. Okay, carve, resample, that's our second mask, and you can see we have more resolution now, and we now have edges and mask. And let's go here. Let's go to this frame, make sure the camera is framed correctly, and let's go to the shader and create a I'm going to copy the mask import node, and it's called edges. I'm going to plug that into the surface. I don't need the displacement at the moment, and let's hit render. Cool, so we have a nice mask, and we also have this mask, and I'm going to multiply both, so this and this, and let's take a look at the result. Okay, and this is going to be our scale driver, and let's hit render. Sorry, not here. Into the displacement, and then the surface is going to be this. Okay, so no more artifacts at all. Everything is working as expected. Cool. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.